Let's move on. Anthony, what are the advantages of a LELOC? Why would someone even consider it?
I would you know what the biggest advantage is now we're working through a bank, right? So just like Cameron had said, it's really the same process. Just who are we going to borrow money from using our policy as collateral? By using the bank, we now have bank privileges, meaning you have checkbook access.
Yeah.
So if I need to write a check to a contractor, or I can just simply write them a check. I don't have to worry about having to process a policy loan. We can get same-day wires. As a matter of fact, I just took a policy loan today, and I can do an ACH and get it into my account in about 3 days. Now, some insurance companies will allow you to process loans online. But one thing that's been happening, and you may have seen this, they've been taking longer. And the reason being is there's been some fraud with people applying for these loans and putting the cash in somebody else's account. So the insurance company is trying to be a good steward and doing some verification on the loan was processed and the bank account, which is just adding some delays. But here, I think the biggest advantage is that you have access to that money right away. Also, one advantage is you can borrow up to 100% of your cash value. Now, when we're doing a policy loan, we're limited to 95. Here we have the ability to leverage 100%. But however, we always caution people in regards to doing that, because if we should never deploy 100% of our liquidity. We need to have some money in reserves for when life happens. And I think the best place to store those reserves are inside a policy. Mm-hmm. So we need to have access to those reserves for you personally. And also we always recommend you have about 1 year's have-to premium in liquid. So if you deploy all that money into an asset and things it takes a little longer to get the money out than you thought, we have that cash value in your policy that we can use that to pay the premium. So we do need to be careful about borrowing against 100% of the cash value. But I will say that is something that I do because I want to maximize the cash. But I'm also a good steward, and I'm not leveraging 100%. But I do like that ability if I do need to.
Good point.
And also, maybe we're talking a little bit about that when the increase in the lines on the disadvantages, but maybe I'll touch it on that point. Also, one of the advantages of a LELOC, it's easier to manage, particularly if you have multiple policies. Because typically, if you get a policy on each member of your family, maybe you got 4 policies, maybe you need a policy loan, put a down payment on an asset. You may need to tap into 3 maybe 4 of those policies. Mm-hmm. So now there's 4 loan forms as opposed to 1. But then also when you go and receive the money and go to pay it back in those policies, now you have to figure out how do you apply those loan repayments. What a LELOC does, it combines all the policies, or really all the policies that you choose to use. So it makes it very easy. It's 1 line of credit and it's 1 loan repayment. Also, once you set this up, there are no loan forms, because also one admin burden when you get a loan form, particularly in a community property state, your spouse, if you're married, needs to sign that form as well. And just as I alluded to before, if we're ended up tapping 4 policies, technically that's 8 signatures.
Yeah,
which we can do through DocuSign, right? But I know for me, it's just always a burden having to explain to my wife why we need this money. Not that we're hiding anything by any means, but sometimes I just need the money and just don't want to have that extra burden of explaining it. You want to see the entire episode? Click here. If you want to learn how investors use infinite banking to increase their returns and lower their taxes, click here.
If you want to see if infinite banking is for you and you have some questions, hop on a discovery call with us and one of our coaches. The link for that will be in the description.